Greg, the kids who did such a great job last week, Jake Ness in his second game of league footy, Sam Taylor, Therese Stewart, all played great games. And of course your veterans lifted as well. Will you be looking to those boys again to do the same?
Yeah, I think we're really confident in what we're going to get out of the senior boys, and I think that was proven last week as well with Crowley and Allard playing so well. But when we look at South Fremantle, we think they go really deep. So to be competitive, then those young kids coming in are going to have to be super strong. But I was ecstatic with the way those boys stood up. Even the ability of some of those boys, like Therese, who hadn't had a great day over the first three quarters, their ability to hang in and impact when needed was really strong. So, yeah, look, we're pretty confident with young Taylor and Toby Watson and Ness. They're pretty calm, laid-back characters, and that was evident last week in a game which had a really big crowd and had a great atmosphere, and the game was on the line, and they operated at a really high level. So we're pretty confident with what those boys will produce.
Just on Ness, I mean, he was a surprise selection. You played one game of league footy and it was round 23 last year. Had some injury issues during the year, but to come back and play that strongly, very surprising. Yeah,
it is surprising. He would have played a lot more footy. He had a really severe shoulder injury, which took him out of 8 or 10 weeks throughout the year, but he did the same last year. He came in last round and was superb, and he's just a little laid-back character, and he came in and we thought he'd do what he's been doing in the reserves, and he just came in and was really calm with the footy and made good decisions, and he defended really strongly, and that's going to be a massive part of the game. Him being able to come in and play on the Johnsons of the world and maybe a Garlett and so forth that have got a lot of experience. He's going to have a calm head and not be overawed.
It looked like there was a lot of emotion in the win on Sunday. How far does emotion get you through this series?
I'm not too sure, but look, there's certainly a positive energy that came out of the game. We needed to gain some momentum after a pretty average 4 weeks, and there was momentum out of our performance. I think there's momentum out of our supporters as well. It was a fantastic WAFL crowd, and we've got to thank West Perth for that as well. But our supporters got going as well, so I've got no doubt that we'll go down the road and look to outnumber the South Fremantle supporters as well. It's going to be another great atmosphere, and there's some momentum from that as well. We know we're going to have great support down at Fremantle Oval. So, yeah, look, there's definitely a positive energy that came out of the win, and, it's certainly not a free hit, this game. We're looking at it going 6 of 8 quarters against the opposition. We think we've been pretty strong, and we're going down the road to win and move on.
Won in round 2, and I think at 3/4 time the other game the scores were level. South ultimately win by 40 points, so you know if you play well, you can the game up to your neck.
Yeah, I think we're reasonably evenly matched, to be honest. They've got some weapons, and sort of I believe through the midfield and forward, I think they've got probably the best weapons in the WAFL collectively through that area of the ground. So, and we think that our defence is really, really strong, led by Ames and Knott and these boys. So I think we match up really, really well. Our first contest was probably tighter than the score line may have indicated, and then the second game was just a tale of really 2 halves. Early in the game, I think we led by 8 goals to 1, and it looked like we had complete control of the game, but then the quality of South's midfield and their forwards took over. So, we've got confidence that when we get things right in the setup and we get the energy right, that we can be ultra competitive. So we should, for WAFL supporters, we should have a really good game of footy.
Talon Ames started on the bench, I think. Spent some time in the ruck, but he's the obvious matchup for Ben Saunders. Those two go back a long way, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and that'll happen again. We think Talon's got a fantastic record against Saunders, and last week, I thought the Peel defence did an amazing job on their key forwards and their forwards in general, and Ben didn't have a hell of a lot of it. So you'd be thinking, we're looking at this contest going, look, he's going to be setting himself for an enormous game to bounce back off one where he was slightly quiet. So given that Talon's record's so strong against him, that'll be the matchup that we'll be going with.
Is the emotion, momentum something to be wary of?
Not really, not to us. Emotion can be a great thing, but it can also, bring you undone too if you go over the top. So, we're really bitterly disappointed. probably had almost probably 3/4 of our team not perform to their usual standards that they've showed consistently through the years. So we've got a quite a mature top end of our group. We've got some exciting young players as well, but we've got some guys that are desperate to get to Sunday and make a statement after what they dished up on the weekend. They were bitterly disappointed that we sort of were never in the game and probably didn't be bold enough to play our own game for long enough. So I think you'll see a pretty strong response.
Did you take any positives out of getting momentum in that second half and the way you finished off?
It's a funny one. Peel kicked the first goal of the last quarter. It's probably a little opportunity possibly for them to relax, and then we kicked a couple of goals and then finally started to sort of attack the game and take it on. So it was important probably for the group to at least finish with some positives, but it probably made it even more disappointing that we can show that we can play that footy, but you wait until the game's almost gone before you're bold enough to bring it out. So we certainly won't be in that situation this week.
What was the feedback? Sorry, what was the feedback from your forwards about being shut down by Peel the way they were, considering how they came in as big reputations?
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious. Reputations mean nothing when you get out there. So, to be honest, they're the best, very good defensive team, but our ball use going into them was pretty ordinary, to be honest, and that had an impact. But across the board, for whatever reason, our energy was down. Usually our pressure in our forward half is as good as anyone going around, and it was there in spits and starts, but consistently it wasn't at our usual level. So we'll look to get back to what we do best this week.
Yeah, that was my question on the forwards. I mean, young Matthew Parker kicks 3 goals. He's the leading goal kicker, so you'd be looking for the likes of Saunders, Delolio and Johnson to all step up on Sunday. Yeah,
look, it's been... we've probably got, say, 3 or 4 guys that in any other team would probably be, that alpha male key forward that would, dominate inside 50. I think they've done a fantastic job between, the 4 of them to kick 40-plus goals and work really effectively together. On the weekend, I think Parker, as the young player, was probably the one that took the game on the most and, desperate to play in his first final. He was the one that was chasing and hitting and probably playing with a bit more freedom. So, we've spoken about it the few times that we were really bold with the ball and were able to get it through the corridor, we scored, but we didn't try to do it enough. So, we've been really good at it all year, and we'll get back to what we do this week.
What was Corey's feedback? Because he really got stitched up, didn't he, right until the end of the game? And was that an AFL thing? Was that the bloke who played on Red City?
I think he played on the same guy the week before and kicked 3 in the first quarter and a half. He had a down day. He's been consistently our best forward in the second half of the year. And for whatever reason, he couldn't get it done on the weekend, but pretty proud bloke. I'm really confident he'll bounce back this week, and he's been ultra consistent. Probably started a bit slow early in the year, coming off a year out of the game, but he's slowly just built, and his second half's been fantastic.
So Greg, they sound pretty fired up about what happened to them. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, we're planning for that, and especially through that front half. There were players of genuine quality that had quiet games, and genuine, like normally, players with that sort of quality bounce back, and it's going to be our job to curtail that energy. They don't have to bounce back with necessarily great performance. That's what we're trying to actually produce. But we have to match a Saunders coming off one where he hasn't had a hell of a lot of it, and we have to match that energy early, because if you don't match it, someone of that quality will get hold of you, and that'll be a problem. And Delolio the same, the hockey the same. I think to 3/4 time, I think one of the best midfielders in the competition hadn't touched it a hell of a lot, and he bounced back in the last quarter, and you saw the momentum that came. But these boys are quality boys in the opposition with a hell of a lot of pride in their performance. And the only way we're going to get the job done is if we match and exceed that intensity early and put some doubt in some minds.
It's a coaching dilemma, isn't it? Because you can see it coming. Whether you can do anything about it, that'll be the thing. And at the end of the game, we'll tell the story whether you were able to.
Yeah, and I think if you go back to the second game we played, it was a game of energy. You know, like we had it early and we controlled the game. When we lost it, the quality of South Fremantle worked their way back over the top, and that'll be the same. Even if we have it for early in the game, then the challenge for us is to sustain it, because I think this team, probably more than any team in the competition, has the capacity to score quickly. And that second game, 8-1, I think we kicked one of the next 15, and I reckon they kicked 6 in the last 10 minutes of the game in a blink of an eye. So the scoring power is enormous. So the capacity to maintain energy across all 18 positions on the ground is going to be absolutely critical for us.
So you're never home, really. That's your
Never home against South Fremantle. Some of the other clubs in the WAFL competition just don't have the capacity to score. So you can make some errors with ball in hand, and they might not have the quality to hurt on the scoreboard. But literally, and I think 3 or 4 of the top 10 in the Bernie Naylor are all South Fremantle players. And as Todd alluded to, there's a number of players in that side that could be the alpha male in any forward line in the competition, and they go so deep. So the bloke coming off the pine going forward is a genuine threat. So at any point in time, if one of those players gains momentum, it's going to be a problem. You know, Kelly's kicked 7, Sloy's kicked 7, I think, and kicked a bag. All of them, every single one of these forwards in this lineup has kicked bags and has the capacity to be the match winner. So that's the challenge for us, is to make sure that none of them are.
Okay, very good. This would be your last week in the job. Is it a different week for you? Or do you approach it as totally as normal?
No, it was the same last week. It was probably the same the week before that. You know, like we weren't assured of playing finals. No, look, I'm enjoying life at the moment. It's good. It's good fun. We won a final. We had a great crowd. It was a great day, great WAFL day, and it'll be another great WAFL day this week down at Freo Oval. Can't wait. It'll be a ripping crowd, because our boys will travel. Like, they're up and about, our lunatics, and they will travel. They'll go down there, and like, South Fremantle got a great following as well, and yeah, I think there was 3,500 down there for the final last week, and I was down there. I guarantee you there won't be 3,500 down there this week. There'll be closer to 6 or 7, because our boys will get on the train, which will be working this week, and they'll go down there and they'll support us to the hill. So it's going to be a ripper day. It'll be a great atmosphere, and look, we think we're a live chance. And you know, we spoke about last week, you just never know. Once you get the finals and you win one and you get momentum, who knows, can you be a Western Bulldogs of the finals competition? That's what we're planning to do.
Jared, obviously last year losing to Peel in such a strong Dogs affiliation, is there a sense of retribution this year round?
No, not really. You know, it's a new year. We just weren't good enough on the day, and I think we've shown over the course of this year how much we want to play finals football, and we get that opportunity, you know, to embark on our finals campaign this week, and it's just obviously fortunate for the spectators and the competition that we're playing against Peel, who we lost to in last year's grand final. But they've got a different side, we've got a different side. It's a new year and a new final series.
Can you understand the narrative that comes with it, the romance of seeing it all unfold again, and potentially in a couple of weeks' time as well?
Yeah, look, it's just come 1 week early, I suppose, for both of us. But yeah, we just want to focus on this week, and you know, whoever they roll out, we're just going to make sure that we're on our game. They're a quality side, and that's why they're in this position.
Have you improved from last year?
I would like to think so. You know, new faces. We've brought through some young players that have been given opportunities throughout this year. You know, you can buy into the win-loss record. It's a unique situation we found ourselves in. You know, but I definitely think we've come a long way as a footy club to have both sides in the finals. You know, with new players. So yeah, look, you know, as I said, you know, new season that we're playing. We want to make sure that we reward ourselves now for all the hard work and the buy-in that we've had from the whole playing group.
So are you expecting Cox and Ryan to come in? And that's pretty amazing, 2 players to bring back. How do you feel about that?
We're planning for 15. That's their limit, and you know, Cam, I did try to get out of Cam just before, but look, yeah, if they come in, you know, look, you know, they played 14 last week. You know, if they're going to bring both in, well, then one has to go out. Who that is, we don't know, but look, we'll plan for 14, 15, all the different scenarios. You know, we've had that opportunity over the last 7 days to do that, and you know, whoever they bring out, they're going to be a quality side, and we're going to have to be at our best.
So do you change your coaching though, because they're quality players and they could change, you know, how the game actually is played? Or do you just worry about your own team?
Yeah, oh, look, obviously, number one is to worry about what we do well. Then obviously you look at the opposition, and as it's been documented, both of us have been very good defensively. We saw that on the weekend. What we've had over this season is we've played each other 3 times. They've had 3 different sides, but I think from recollection, I'm pretty sure that we've played every player that could possibly play against us on Saturday. We've played against. So generally, we know where they might position, how they structure up. We'll find out on Sunday. But yeah, look, what we do know is that they're a very good defensive side, and we've got to make sure that we're at our best to be able to score.
Where can you expose them? Where can you get them?
Try and score more than them. Look, it's as I said, both teams are very good defensively. They were super impressive around the footy on the weekend, and then their backline was super as well. But you can't underestimate the likes of Jeddah, Ugal, and Taberner up forward. So it's going to be enthralling sort of a game that we're going to encounter on the weekend, and you can't pinpoint any particular area. They're very even across the board.
Cam, what's the number? 15? Go to next.
I think it'll be 14 or 15, and that's being truthful because Brendan and Luke still have to get through training on Friday, and we'll wait and see how that pans out.
What's the dialogue been with them so far? They keen to be?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
2 young men who are really keen to be part of the final series, and they're good players, but at the same time we have to leave a couple out for them. So that's a challenge at selection, and we've got to make sure our mix is right.
Is that a new challenge, having to leave a docker out like that?
Well, no. Jack Hanneth missed out last year in the grand final, so no, it's a constant challenge, Barra.
And what do you think of that 15 limit? Do you think that's appropriate, or you just have to do?
Oh, there's been a lot of narrative, hasn't there, about the 15, and we've won a game against South Fremantle where we played reasonably well, and I hear the noise, but until such time as we go through and achieve, I think we just look forward to a great final series between some really good clubs, rather than talk about the alignment.
Do you feel at times, Cam, that some think you've already won it because you've got that addition of 14 or 15 dockers influence?
Well, some may, but we don't. So we know that there's a side that we play on the weekend that's won 19 straight, and they've been the benchmark for the year, and probably really the benchmark for the last 3 years. So it's a great challenge to our young group. We've got 4 or 5 teenagers that'll trot out on the weekend, and it's great learning for them. But we're up for it.
What's been the formula that you've used, or the secret, I guess, of how you've got the 2 groups to gel so well together, last final series and last week as well?
Well, I think it's born over time. So we've got, in essence, to start off, we've got really good quality people at Peel and players at Peel, and similarly at Fremantle, and so the leaders drive most of that. And last year it's been well documented, but this year Dawson, Subin, Ibbotson have really driven that along, and I think that's where that comes from. So it's just massaging that and making sure that they know what our goals are internally.
That's a good question, because is it true that you don't actually have a chance for them to train with the other boys during the final series, or is it just once a week? Or
No. We maintain our same program, Barra, right through, and we don't train together, but and that's one of the great challenges of coaching this side, is to bring it together on a weekend. We don't train together, but we certainly review similarly and try to understand the game plan accordingly. So we get together when we can, and that at times can be difficult.
What's the philosophy behind not training together? What do the doctors say to you about that?
Well, clearly that our boys, a lot of them work, and we train of an evening, and the Fremantle players train normally in the morning, or all the time in the morning. So when the chance comes around and they're on buys, or when there's an AFL buy, or if we manage to win tomorrow, we'll train all together next Saturday or Sunday. So when we get the chance, we love to bring the boys together, so it's probably 3 or 4 times of a year. But we get great support from coaches, and as I say, it's a manner of bringing the groups together within the parameters you're given.
Ken, what are the challenges does that present? I mean, imagine for match play or simulation, where do you pull the extra numbers for if you can't do it all together?
Well, we do it, so we pull it from our reserves, and I think In our development side, we've managed 7 wins, and we try to assimilate the same game plan through that. So I think a bit of an issue is made of it, but we certainly have been able to manage around it.
It's just a credit to you, really, that you can do it, I reckon.
Thanks, mate.
10 blokes, and then the rest resis until I think on the outwork.
Well, this year we averaged just under 10 players of Fremantle each week. But obviously up until now we've had a full squad where we have 40 or 45 on our squad, and we train together like a normal club does.
Jared, what does winning 19 consecutive games count for come Sunday? At least I guess you've got momentum.
Oh, really nothing. It gave us the week off. It's as I said to the guys, once we'd finished that game in round 23, that one season to conclude and another one begins for us, and it gave us a week off to freshen up. It's been a long year. Gives opportunities to guys that have missed a few weeks to get their bodies right, and obviously us to really drill down on our game and to reset ourselves for a final series. So that's what it gave us, but it doesn't guarantee us anything. And you can go to the AFL and you can go to the final series that we've had over the last couple of years. That finals games are completely different to home and away. So yeah, look, we freshened up. We're ready to go.
Can you give us an indication of the blokes under a bit of a cloud? Horsley, Wheeler, Joyce, Powell, Brian.
Yeah, well, those last 3 all played on the weekend and got through. Joyce, Powell and Brian. Chuck in Parry, Garcia. There's a fair list that we can go to there. Wheeler's been training the last probably 4 or 5 weeks on the track. That was the advantage on the weekend. With our reserves in the finals, was whether to play Clancy in the 2s or to give him some controlled training, and we chose the latter, and he's come through really well. So look, he'll barring any setbacks from now until Sunday, I dare say he'll put his hand up for selection. And Cole Horsley's got a couple of boxes to tick, and but when he's your leader of your club, a real barometer for us, we'll give him right to the last minute to prove himself. And if he is, dare say he'll play. If he's not 100%, the character of the person and where we are as a club, we won't play him. We want guys that are fully fit and ready to go. So reputations probably won't speak too much in terms of the side that we want to roll out on the weekend.
Subin was really good for them last week. It's a bit of a twist, and he normally minds someone this time. Would you put much work into him, or maybe even run with him?
He's not the only one. Look, as I said before, when we played him last, he played on a wing. He's played half back. He played on ball. He was super on ball. He sort of referenced Kelly a little bit on the weekend, as did Sutcliffe and Joshy DeLuca as well. So they had a real solid midfield unit. They were very good contested wise, and their pressure around the footy was superb. And they're dangerous players. So look, I'm not going to get in the match committee now, but they've got a long list of players that you might want to watch as well. They've got a former Sandover medalist and Rory O'Brien. They've got Jeddah that is one of their leading goal kickers that they've sorely missed over when he was out injured. So we won't pinpoint any particular players.
And what sort of challenge is Darcy and Griffin to you?
Yeah, it's a tall order, isn't it? Considering we don't have a ruckman, apparently. But look, once again, we've played against them both throughout the year. When we've had Delahunty, Wheeler, we've had Creeper doing some big jobs for us of recent times. So we're not a side. If you look at the stats, we rank 9th in hitouts, but we rank number 1 in clearances and contested ball in the competition, and that's why I think this will be an enthralling battle between 2 very good sides.
And Chip, just one more on that, the alignment stuff. Apparently last week the crowd was booing, the South Fremantle crowd was booing your players. How do you feel about that? Do you say anything to them, and do they use it as ammunition to stick it to the other team? Or?
Well, I think South Fremantle supporters are passionate. They'd had a really good year and they had expectation. We don't take it in any fashion. We just look forward to the next game. So it was an unfortunate set of circumstances. I think footy's better off without it than with it. But really, it's a moment and then it's gone and then we move on.
Could it happen again this week, do you think?
I'd hope not.